The president is sending the National Guard because he doesn't like the scenes. He doesn't like the scenes of people peacefully protesting. And we know that California law enforcement, local law enforcement, they're there to protect the public.
Look at these images. Does it look like? So you either have to think that the National Guard caused this. It was the National Guard that got that guy on the motorcycle who snorted a bunch of meth and then was like watching Mad Max backwards and then started doing that. That was because of the National Guard. All of this is because of the National Guard. Or is it because these people have been radicalized? There's a massive mental health crisis in our country. We have allowed Marxism and jihadism to be taught in our schools, and we don't have proper policing, so the National Guard are going to do their job.
So there's unrest. Let's start with there's protest, lawful protest, which is allowed in this country. There is some unrest, generally dealt with by local law enforcement.
But even as people are voicing their disagreement with that, calling in the National Guard in the way that he did was not necessary, absolutely overkill, and seems to now being escalating the problem because of Donald Trump's actions.
Yeah, it sounds like what you're saying, if I'm understanding, is in your belief, what we're seeing, the car on fire, et cetera, is that escalation is directly correlated with the National Guard being brought in?
Look, on one level, protests are always about images, about spectacle. You might even say it's about theater. And we are seeing that play out in LA. And I think it's valuable to have that perspective as we see some of these pictures, especially as we zoom out and we recognize that the unrest is isolated, is not overtaking the entire city of LA. LA is home to millions of people, most of whom are having a normal day here on Sunday.
You know, let's hope that no one is hurt and no one is injured, and it doesn't escalate from here. Look at the flag. Yeah, Guy, I see
there it is.
You
Mexican
it out.
Flag can,
this is criminal activity that I hope is people are held accountable for. And I'm talking about the riots right here.
Where are the cops?
Yeah, where are they?
We agree that if you're being violent, you should be arrested. You should be prosecuted. There is no disagreement on that. I think that's an effort that we can all say. But this is not what's happening. We are having an administration that's targeting peaceful protests, people that are there to protest. The president is sending the National Guard because he doesn't like the scenes. He doesn't like the scenes of people peacefully protesting. And we know that California law enforcement, local law enforcement, they're there to protect the public. They're there to protect and have public safety. And that's what they're there to do. Now, when people turn on law enforcement is when you get that response.
Fox is able to get it right for some reason. I love Stelter. Stelter, a man who they fired at CNN because he was the perfect avatar of everything that a lying media has done for us for years. He then took a job teaching media at Harvard. I mean, it's just so beyond ironic and obvious and everything else. And now he's back on CNN to tell you that you don't see what you see. You're right, Stelter, I guess to some extent, that Los Angeles is a city of millions of people. And it's not absolutely everywhere, but it's significant enough. And do you know what happens if you don't stamp it out at the beginning? It will spread. It will come. So what are you trying to defend, you abject buffoon?